Well, good morning. This morning I'm going to be tuning this little red Mini here. The owner has been running around in it through the summertime, not being as reliable as they'd like. Could be a few little issues here and there. Perhaps that's even E5 petrol related, perhaps it's E10 petrol related in the last few months. But I'm going to start by going through some basic diagnostics on a classic car. Kind of applies to any classic car. At the end of the day, the engine inside, it's often referred to as an air pump. And to have an air pump, what you need is compression, you need fuel with the right calorific value, and of course you need ignition and spark to take place at the right point in time for all those factors to work. So with the owner saying this hasn't been running so well, I'm going to look into a few things first. You can see I've got the spark plugs out, we're taking a look inside the balls, making sure everything's good and healthy inside there. I've also got a little spark plug rigged up here. It just helps for me to spin the car, look out of the window, and I can see if the spark's coming through for the ignition. I then need to look into the fueling and make sure the ignition spark is occurring at the right point in time. So perhaps if Jason wants to come forward a little more, I can show down here and show the ignition marks that we've put on the engine, and that's kind of what I'm going to be timing in at the right place for all the magic of this little Mini to take place. Yep, so if you look just down the right hand side of the alternator, you'll see the bottom crankshaft pulley. To the left of the white mark are some teeth. The top one is your top dead center, and each of those teeth coming down are another 4 degrees before top dead center. The white paint blob is a reference position on that crankshaft pulley where the ignition needs to be timed in relative to the right timing mark for how this engine should run right. The first thing I've done though, I've indexed this to make sure that top dead center marking is correct according to the engine cylinders. So then we'll move on and try a little bit more magic, see if we can get this running as it should, or if at all today. Okay, so I just want to show you a little about spark plugs and spark plug gaps. Now this is a really good quality spark plug, very available, always buy them from a good resource. Now I'm going to take it out of the package and we're going to measure what the spark plug gap is, because like many people, you'll buy them and think, well, I haven't touched them, it's set and it's set correctly. Now this little tool here is a sliding scale. So you enter the spark plug in at the thin side of the scale and you gently move it round until you feel the resistance. Now I'd say that's about 33 thou. Now we are all expecting these to be down here on the scale of 25 thou. So do check them, do adjust them, even though they are brand new. That's exactly what we've just been doing here. Now just as a comparison, I'll bring in the old feeler gauge type. Now that's a 25 thou feeler gauge. Hope you can see it on the scale there. Again, I will put it in, and you can see how loose that is. Glides up and down, no resistance. Just confirming that the little gauge earlier it's good enough for us. So just continuing to give you a little update on this little red Mini here. We had a spark, that's a good sign. We had fuel coming through, that's a good sign. We had compression, that's also a good sign. So the next aspect then is to make sure that all of these are being delivered in approximately the right amounts, but certainly at the right time. And for exactly that reason, I've now static timed in this Mini to approximately the manufacturer's setting, because internally, through the life of this car, this engine and other parts, we don't know who has done what and where and when and why, and did they do it correctly. So we've statically timed this and now ready to flick the key, see if she fires up. So we're at a mid-choke position, we've got a moderate amount of idle so it's not going to run away with itself and also shouldn't flood itself. Let's give it a flick of the key and see if she now runs. So far, so good, we're getting there. Okay, that'll do for now. Okay, so we've got the car running now. What we want to also make sure is that the car is breathing as it should. That also helps to achieve the correct amount of compression. and much of that is controlled by the valve clearances. Now, to me, it doesn't sound far away, but perhaps there's a little tweak to make sure it's running exactly as it should in terms of valve clearance and compression. So that's what we'll do next. One of the ways of adjusting the valve clearances is to put the car in gear, and then you can move the car back and forward, and because of the gearing through the engine to the valve clearances, it will force them to lift and close at the right time. Just to give yourself a little help, remove the spark plugs. Then you're not working against the compression of the engine. But of course, make note on the firing order. I know it off by heart, but it's still easy to get it wrong. So that's what we're going to do. Just going to take the spark plugs out so we're not working against the compression. So, no obstructions around, we'll give her a gentle push, and as you can see, the valves open and close, and it's now time to do some adjusting. Yes, you see that's too tight.
Right.
Can't get the feeler gauge in. It should be at a clearance position when the other valve's down. That's fine. That's fine. So we're going to call that 1 and 6. That's too tight.